The show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online WSGW.com.
Well, good morning. This is Kareem Bowen filling in for Art Lewis on the Art Lewis Show today. So glad to be with you guys. I'm in the studio today with the guy that I call John B. John, how's it going today?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. I want to start us off with a very interesting situation. This is real. This is fact, not fiction.
Yep.
I almost made it late to the studio today. I got up this morning and I am a tech guy. I love gadgets. I love devices. Well, at the end of last year, I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy one of those sharks. It's this new model shark for my pool.
Oh, okay.
So I have an in-ground pool, and it's this. It looks like a really big, how would I say it? A remote control car, kind of like. And you put it in the water. There's a cord that's attached to it, probably about 25, 30 feet long. And this morning I was putting it in the water and just kind of doing some other things. And I went to walk away, not thinking that I'd already turned it on. So once you turn it on, it starts rolling its feet and it's going across. So I stood up to walk away and to come back into the house. I didn't realize that I was tied up in the thing. I tripped over the cord. I fell in the pool this morning. And so I had to run back in, get dressed all over again. I was like, oh, this is horrible. But it is when, devices are great until they go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But it was funny. I thought about it today. I said, I'm going to share this with them because I think, we have these types of things happen. And I was listening on the news, how many people are drowning, just freak accidents and things that happen. And in Michigan, it's something that we have to be aware of and always dealing with. Can you swim?
Yeah, I can swim.
Okay, because I'm a big proponent of swimming. People, I may not look like it right now, but I used to be a lifeguard, and I used to actually lifeguard over here at Eighth Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, right out of high school, first couple of years of college. So it was a good thing. And as a Black man, swimming is something that we don't often find in a lot of places in our communities, but that's changing so quickly. But hey, I want to talk to you about, are you feeling the pinch of inflation right now?
Me personally?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Man, I was sitting here, and I'll tell you what I am feeling, the craziness of the gas prices. But I went to the store, and I'm the type of person, I don't go and I buy, a month's full of groceries. That's not what I do. But I do tune in, like just probably I jump into the store every other day because I'm a person. What do I feel like eating today? So I do those things based upon how I feel, which is probably the reason why I've been gaining some weight. I need to stop going by that emotional food and put a plan together.
Never shop hungry,
man. Oh my gosh! So I went into the store the other day, and I was looking at just the prices of everything. Eggs, just staple foods, eggs and staples and sugar and things. And I'm like, how in the world are families making it with these prices that we're currently dealing with? And I was looking at something this morning, or was it yesterday morning? They were saying that inflation is at like 9.1%.
I heard 9 today.
Yeah, that is absolutely out of this world, and it's hard to process. Considering that wages are probably at about 8% increase, so our wages are not keeping up. And so, for those of you who are out there, you moms, especially those single parent moms that are out there raising kids and having to put food on the table, this is a very serious time. So if you're out there and someone who is a single parent mom, I say, hey, this is the time when we as Americans, we need to lean in for one another and make sure that we're being taken care of, because this is some really hard stuff. And one of the things that I think is really interesting about this time is that I was talking with someone and they were telling me that they couldn't find a job. Can you believe that? In this economy,
I've got friends who tell me the same thing. And I'm like, did you drive down the street and look at the signs on the side of the road?
McDonald's is hiring and paying $15 an hour right now. I mean, but when we look at it, it was so funny. They told me that. I was like, I said, it's kind of hard for me to deal with the fact that you're saying you can't find a job, seeing that according to what, everyone is saying, there's probably 2 million more jobs than there are people looking for jobs at the moment. So at this point in time, I think that if you don't have a job, and you haven't been incarcerated. So, I understand if you're carrying some additional baggage that may have happened that may be an effect on you being able to find jobs. But hey, if you're looking for a job, this is the time where every American should have a job, and a decent paying job at that. Well, considering inflation, but hopefully you're out there. So if you're looking, I want to give you some places. You can go to Menards. I know that they're hiring. Walmart is hiring. Everybody is hiring. I'm telling you, it's hard to keep good work these days.
Even like it's been going on for a while. Like last summer, I took my annual trip down to Cedar Point, and we were just driving through in Ohio, driving down a small town road, and we see fast food places hiring at $20 an hour. That's how desperate they were.
$20 an hour.
I know. I'm like, I might move down here to Ohio and set up.
You have to begin to think with McDonald's and Menards and places like that, which were typically places where younger kids or kids that were, summers and things like that would go in and get employed. With those companies paying $15 an hour, with you're saying $20 an hour for
it was only one. It was a Wendy's.
A Wendy's.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but they set the trend, because if Wendy's starts doing it, then they all got to do it to get, keep employees.
Yeah.
But when you see those types of things, and you see other manufacturing companies such as a Next Tier or something of that nature that are I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. There's something that's in the studio that's ringing like crazy, and I'm like, what in the world is this? But you see companies like that taking place and hiring at those rates, man. What does that do for a Next Tier? What does that do for a out in the thumb area, Blue Diamond, for those workers that are out there that are making, $14, $15, $16, $18 an hour? If you're making $20 at McDonald's, a lot of people are going to be like, hey, why don't we just go to McDonald's? And so we have this is where I think it plays a great role in terms of, we're talking about how inflation happens. I told everybody, I said, hey, this pandemic money it feels good in the moment, but you can't just print money out of thin air and just expect it to have an impact. And so we're seeing what's taking place here, and I'm hoping that we can somehow get an edge on this. It just means that those rates are going to keep hiking up. The housing market is cooled down a little bit, but we still see people needing affordable homes and things. Is something that is not going to go away, but there has to become a point, and I think that's what the feds are banking on, that eventually, hey, we're not going to pay that much for a house, and the housing market then has the ability to start a cooling effect on the rest of the industry that's out there. But for those of you that are listening to us online, we want to say thank you in the social media stream. Like, tag, and share this conversation with those that are around you. And then for those of you who are watching us on listening to us on the radio, we want to say, hey, welcome. I always love live listeners. And sometimes I get into the car just to hear that regular crackle and the sound that comes through the radio, even though digital media has it so much clearer. But I love the sound of authentic radio sound. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back after this, and we'll get into more conversation. Thank you, guys. This is Kareem Bowen sitting in for Art Lewis on the Art Lewis Show.
Why do I fly out of MBS Airport? Because the stress-free experience on the ground makes for a more enjoyable experience up here.
This is Bravo. I'm gonna do some barrel rolls and other cool stuff.
Whoa, what a dream. Even a business trip's exciting. And with services through Delta and United Airlines, you'll feel upgraded as soon as you walk through their doors. Book your flight today at mbsairport.org.
Paid for by govmint.com.
Have you heard? The United States Mint has issued the Morgan Silver Dollar for the first time in 100 years. Not only that, but they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 175,000 legal tender silver dollars were issued. These Morgan Silver Dollars are brand new, bright and shiny legal tender coins minted by the iconic Philadelphia Mint. Just call 1-800-222-3807 and you are guaranteed a new 99.9% pure silver Morgan dollar. The first time in history this has happened. But with limited quantities, you must call now to order. To learn more, call 1-800-222-3807. If you order now, you will receive a free collector bonus, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-222-3807 now. to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-222-3807.
Looking good, Mrs. Dubs.
The head groundskeeper at Thad's golf course just retired.
We need to find someone in the next 2 weeks. Someone with botany and management experience.
He needs a replacement because the greens are already looking a little rough.
Aeration. They need to know it all.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
It is the fundamental right of parents to direct the education of their children, unquote. That's the state law. And Representative Annette Glenn sponsored a bill to require posting that right in school offices and board meetings. Fighting for parents. Paid for by Annette Glenn for State Senate.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Companies were continuing to pay more to produce things last month. The Producer Price Index, which measures inflation at the wholesale level, rose 1.1% in June from May. For the year ending in June, the PPI rose 11.3% more than forecast. There were more people filing for unemployment benefits last week. New claims increased to 244,000. However, the number of people continuing to receive unemployment benefits, continuing claims, dropped to 1.33 million. JP Morgan Chase saw its profits slump 28% in the recent quarter. Its earnings and revenue came in weaker than forecast. Morgan Stanley also reported earnings that were below Wall Street forecasts. Both stocks are lower. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is building Do Good Village in Land O'Lakes, Florida. It's a first-of-its-kind community with over 100 homes for program recipients, a place where Gold Star families, families of fallen first responders, and catastrophically injured heroes can live together with neighbors who understand, a place where the children of these families will grow up together. Help America's greatest heroes and their families to heal together. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
The economy is heading for a total disaster. The Fed must choose between a stock market and housing market crash or hyperinflation. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement savings into physical gold today. To help you get started, my friends at Birch Gold have created a free information kit on gold IRAs. To get your free copy, just text Safeguard to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required. Again, that's Safeguard to 989898.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Ground ball and a base hit into left field. Jonathan Scope around third, and he will score. Tigers have been doing that beautifully here in the seventh inning. 4 runs and a 7-3 lead.
The Tigers play 6:50 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
Hey, this is Kareem. I'm sitting in for Art Lewis today on the Art Lewis Show. We are here this morning, myself and John B. And we have a great show. We have some amazing guests that are about to come in just a few short minutes. And I'm excited to have them with me. I had spent some time with them on the other day and had a great time, John. So I want to let's bring them into the stream if we can, for those that are watching via social media stream. There they are. Good morning, ladies. How are you doing this morning?
We are fantastic. Doing great. Thanks for asking.
Okay, we have with us, and if you would just kind of give the audience a wave when you get an opportunity to. Those who are listening to us will catch it during our verbal cues. But we have with us the chief executive of human resources, that is Karen Clark. She's also the chief of inclusion, as well as the director of inclusion, Dr. Alita Williams. Both of you ladies, welcome to the Art Lewis Show. I'm excited to have you guys with us on today.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much.
Okay, and as usual, and Karen, I think that you look stunning. Okay, I just want you to know that you look stunning. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Louder for the people in the back. Louder.
A little inside joke, but I'm so glad to have you guys with us here today. Dow is having, when they have this Great Lakes Bay Invitational, it's kind of like the entire tri-county region stops and all attention turns towards what you guys are doing out there. I want to just get started, first of all. Karen, if I may call you Karen, I want to just thank you and welcome you for the opportunity that you provided to some of the students. But before we talk about that, I want to just share with our audience that is listening, when you say Chief Inclusion Officer, what are we talking about?
Yeah, thanks for that. And again, thanks for having us this morning. It is a lovely morning here from Midland, Michigan at the Dow Great Lakes Bay Invitational. And I will tell you, Chief Inclusion Officer was something that we didn't have even 6 years ago. And so we named our first Chief Inclusion Officer 5 years ago, almost to the day. And I get to wake up every day and think about the 36,000 members of Team Dow and contractors beyond that. And how are we going to create a culture where everyone wants to be here, is seen, is heard, has a fair shot at opportunities, at advancing, and frankly, family-sustaining jobs. That's what we are here to provide, because we know that if we have employees who want to be here and who stay here, that's going to drive not only better business results, which is, of course, one of our objectives, but also a better community. And frankly, we can work together to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. So it really is about getting up every day and figuring out how can we make sure that our culture is one where people want to be here, they decide to stay here, and they can contribute to their fullest potential.
I think that's amazing. Dr. Williams, she spoke a lot about culture, building culture. And I want to lean in, because I'll tell you, the day after being with you guys, the thing that continually stuck, I was like, wow, they are building an amazing culture. How would you define the culture at Dow?
Yeah, I think we're on a journey, right? I would say that the culture is built by the people, right? I think back, Kareem, to more than 20 years ago when I first interviewed at Dow, and you go through interviewing with 10 people and you ask them, what is it that makes Dow such a great place to work? And even back then, 20 years ago, people were telling me it's the people of Dow. We've got world-renowned experts that are accessible to people at all levels of the organization. And so for me, I think our culture starts with our people. We are on a journey to make sure that, as Karen mentioned, that folks feel fully welcomed here, that they feel like they belong. And we're taking some really great steps. So it's about our people, but also making sure that our folks feel fully welcome, that they belong, and that there's a culture where they feel fully trusted too.
Where they can fully show up. I love that.
Fully show up.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about really everyone's kind of aware of the Invitational that takes place. I want to talk about why this particular event. There was so much coming in. I just saw diversity. Everything screamed diversity, right? Why is this particular event bringing in members of the LPGA Tour into the setting? Why is this so important?
We talked about this before. Inclusion, diversity, and equity is not just a program or a flavor of the month for Dow. It's integrated into everything that we do, including our Great Lakes Bay Invitational. And sports is such a phenomenal backdrop to not only talk about all things inclusion, diversity, and equity, but frankly, to advance it. So we're using it as a platform to not only talk about the progress that we've made, not just at Dow, but as a society, but also to elevate the progress that still needs to be made. If you think about the players, the amazing professional athletes that are here this week, an incredibly diverse group of people, but we also know that there are some folks that are absent. We see a few players of African descent, but not enough players of African descent, as an example. Several years ago, you probably wouldn't have seen as many players that are of Asian descent. Fortunately, the LPGA has made progress there. And so I just use that as a way to compare the LPGA even to Dow. We're really proud of the progress that we've made. We've improved in terms of U.S. ethnic minorities, and in terms of women and veterans and multiple dimensions of diversity, but it is not enough. And so it starts with the culture, though. And so diversity is an outcome. Culture is where the work is. So you can attract diversity, but if you can't retain diversity, then you're not going to get the best business results. And just to be very clear, the reason this is important to us is not just because it's the right thing to do, because it absolutely drives better business results. So we just have to keep after it. And we look for every opportunity that we can to elevate this incredible, important business imperative. And so it was just frankly natural for us to capitalize on the Great Lakes Bay Invitational as yet another opportunity for us to elevate this important issue, frankly.
Dr. Williams, to borrow your own phrase, you guys believe in equity, even though it was about golf. You brought in the phenomenal Katrina Adams, Miss Katrina Adams. I want you to share, because you had the opportunity to do a fireside chat with her. I thought you did an amazing job. I think that we probably could switch because you were a natural.
Give her the headphones. Just give her the headphones.
But what I do want is, why don't you just share exactly with our listeners, first of all, who Katrina Adams is, because I did not know the entirety of her story. I was familiar with her, but I think that you introduced her in a way that made her so real and her story so important to the all of America. So share with us your conversation, a little tidbit of who she is and why it was so important for her to be there at this particular event. I loved her.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks for the opportunity to share that. So for those of you who don't know, Katrina M. Adams, she is a product of Chicago Public Schools, grew up starting, I think, at the age of 9 playing tennis. Eventually went to Northwestern University. She was one of the first Chicago Public School student to actually win a state championship in doubles, the first Chicago Public School student and the first Black woman. She went to Northwestern University. She was one of the first Black women to win a doubles title, NCAA doubles title. And then she enjoyed a professional career. She spent 12 years on the World Tennis Association tour. And then she actually was the first former player to actually hold the position of the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and the President and Chairman of the United States Tennis Association. So the first former player, the first Black woman, and also the first person to hold that position 2 times. So I introduced her by saying that she's a woman of many firsts, and she has this amazing book out, and we spent quite a bit of time the other night talking about it, called Own the Arena. And it really focuses on her journey as the first and the only in many spaces, and certainly in the sport of tennis. And so it's just a really, really great conversation. And so to your question on why it was important, I think I made the comment that, we're here to talk about golf, but, at SOAR, it was an inclusion summit, right? And so we don't discriminate against other sports. And there's so many lessons that you can learn and leverage across the board. And so having somebody like her who had ascended the ranks as the first and only in a predominantly white sport, in a sport where there's still some inequities between women and men, I think it was critical. When you talk about the journey or think about the journey that we're on from a Dow perspective, yes, it is about improving things inside our fence lines, but it also is an opportunity for us to extend the same beyond the fence lines. So for us, our communities, our customers, our suppliers, I mentioned community members, right? So community members were in the room, customers, our suppliers. Of course, we had students that you work with. And so it was important for me to bring somebody on that that has credibility, first of all, who's been in a position of just amazing leadership, who has been a trailblazer. And we had some students in the room, and for the students to be able to see someone who looks like them and know that they too can do it, I think it was just a powerful, powerful moment. I think there were so many takeaways for the diverse audience that we had on Tuesday night.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about those students that were in the room and the impact that you guys made. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more of the Art Lewis Show.
Why can't Michigan students be the best educated in the world? Why can't the state that put the world on wheels have the best roads? Why can't Michigan be the manufacturing capital of the United States? I believe we can. My name is Tim Kelly, and as state representative, I cut through Lansing regulations every day. Now I'm running for state senate, and I'm primed to get our state back on track. Michigan has been held back by Lansing's red tape for far too long. Let's give Michigan a chance again. Paid for by Tim Kelly for state senate.
Art Lewis here for Thalen Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bay City. If you're thinking of buying a new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram truck, you owe it to yourself to go online to thinkthalen.com, where you can complete 80% of the deal right online. Thalen has new vehicles arriving all the time. Make sure your name is on one of them. And don't forget, if you're looking to move up to a newer pre-owned car or truck, the Thalen Auto Group on North Euclid Avenue in Bay City has pre-owned and inspected vehicles from all the Thalen dealerships in one place, offering you one of the largest inventories in the Great Lakes Bay region. Sit down with a Thalen representative, strike your best deal, and drive it away today. Thalen, the family that's been serving your automotive needs for 45 years. Stop today or visit them online at thinkthalen.com. Don't forget, you can do 80% of your deal online at thinkthalen.com.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-675-7676. That's 800-675-7676.
Is your prostate secretly being destroyed without you knowing it? All the ads for these prostate pills, like Super Beta Prostate, Soft Palmetto, ProstaStream, Prostagenics, and others, want to know which pills work and which are garbage? Now you can. Get a free copy of the new guide, Prostate Secrets, that pulls back the curtain on the prostate pill industry. Learn what is really in these pills. Which pill has over 987 adverse event reports filed against it with the FDA? It's shocking. Learn the one food to avoid that is a prostate killer, and discover the 3 so-called health foods that destroy your prostate. Get your free copy at prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com. This free guide will show you how to end your prostate problems without drugs or surgery, 5 important things to do to protect your prostate, and much more. Warning, this guide is controversial and may be offensive to some readers as it pulls no punches. So go to prostatesecrets.com. Prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robin show, what's Biden's plan for inflation? Telling you to buy an electric car.
Buy an electric car now!
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW. You are with WSGW in the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios.
Good morning. This is Kareem Bowen, and I'm sitting in for Art Lewis today on the Art Lewis Show. And I have with me 2 amazing women here, Dr. Alveda Williams and Karen Carter. Both of them upper-level executives at Dow, and they are here today sharing with us some great information about inclusion, which is a key piece of what they do. I want to tell you, ladies, when I was sitting in the room and Dr. Williams, you were doing your interview with Miss Katrina, I was sitting there. I was like, I started hearing songs like the Aretha Franklin song playing in my mind. Sisters are doing it for themselves. I was so empowered and so excited to just see where our women have been able to achieve and what you guys have been doing. What did that make you feel like to be able to showcase that level of achievement to the room that was there for that evening?
Is the question for me, Kareem? It's so, look, I would say incredibly proud, right? Incredibly proud for sure. But the other thing, I think it gives you pause because you know that, while there's a Katrina, while there's a St. Marshall, while there is a Melody Hobson, there is a Condoleezza Rice, you name it, there is still so much more work to do. So proud to be able to share the space with her, but recognize that, there's still way too many onlys, and we've got a lot more work to do.
I think one of her quotes, right, Alvita, was, you need to see it to be it.
Yes.
And that was one of the primary objectives. It is one of the primary objectives of how we even think about SOAR on an annual basis, is making sure that we are thoughtful and intentional about the examples of excellence that we put on stage. And Katrina Adams is definitely an amazing example, but so is Dr. Alvita Williams. So we can't sleep on Dr. Alvita with an emphasis on doctor, because the fact of the matter is that as a Black woman, that's an achievement in and of itself. And so we always joke with each other, because whenever I introduce her, I have to emphasize Dr. Alvita,
Absolutely.
not just Alvita Williams, Dr. Alvita Williams.
She's a little extra, but we love it.
Dr. Williams, I think she drives home a point that is very important, especially when we're putting you in spaces where you're standing in front of young women who of Black and brown faces who look like you, who need to see examples of, hey, this is Dr. Alvita Williams. We had the honor to have you as one of our speakers for our speaker series for Dow Treasure Academy. And the young women, after you left, they were like, wow, she's amazing. So to be able to see you and then to hear you, I think is a very vital part. Now, talking about being intentional about excellence and those things, you guys don't know that this took place, but I want to share with you what happened. I want to talk to you guys about the entrance. On Tuesday evening, you invited out for a reception the two programs, Midnight Golf, which is down in Detroit, which I'm very familiar with the Skillman Foundation and some of the work that they were doing. And I know that's one of the programs that they work with. Karen, Miss Carter, I saw you look over. Did I get something wrong right there?
No.
Okay. But we saw those individuals that were there from Midnight Golf, as well as the students that I work with Dow Treasure Academy. Let me tell you about how this happened. And I know it probably was not intentional, but it seemed so intentional, and it was an amazing opportunity. Once we arrived on location at the H Hotel, which once again, bringing the students to an amazing location, putting them in a place that they may not typically have an opportunity to be exposed to, that level of excellence, I want to say kudos, and that was an amazing choice and selection of places. When we arrived, the CEO of the company, Jim Fitterling, happened to be at the gate. He happened to be at the door when we walked through the door. And so I was just sitting here like, wow, they really pulled out all the stops for Dow Treasure Academy. I'm popping my collar like, kids, this is what we do up in here. And so Jim took it all in stride. And I was like, this is so amazing. He sat there. He introduced himself to all of the students. He got all of their names and they're all ninth graders. And then he took it upon himself. And I think that this is where leadership matters. He took it upon himself not to just introduce himself, but he says, hey, you know what? The place is up the stairs. I'm going to take you guys myself. If you don't mind, I'll escort you. So he escorted our group, to the main ballroom, to where everyone was sitting. And the kids were just like, "Well, this dude is so cool." They're like, "He's the CEO of Dow." I'm like, "Yeah, this is him." And so when we came in, we had literally the white limousine and the red carpet rolled out for us. And they were just looking like, "Wow, Mr. Bowen, you the man." I'm like, "Hey, that's how they do us around here." But you guys didn't know that, but it was such an amazing moment. How does it feel when your leadership as African-American women is not only recognized, but valued by the chief of your company?
Let me just say that I'm not surprised. That's what Jim Fitterling would do, because that's what he does on a daily basis. I mean, he is what I would call a servant leader. 5 years ago when he asked me to be the chief inclusion officer, and then a few months after that asked me to be the chief HR officer, our conversation was absolutely not about me. And our conversation was not about him. It was all about the expectations, but also the dreams and hopes that he has for our company, but also for society. That's just who he is. That's how he shows up. He's intentional in everything that he does. He's intentional about the diversity of his leadership. And I'm talking about multiple dimensions of diversity. It is not by mistake or happenstance or coincidence that our board of directors is in the top quartile for diversity. Those are choices and decisions that he makes. His leadership team, those are choices and decisions that he makes. And it is because he fundamentally believes in the value of having a diverse team. And it's also not by happenstance that we have the most diverse leadership team we've ever had, and we continue to deliver record results, not just from a bottom line perspective, but also from a cultural perspective. And we've got the proof points to indicate that. But at the core of all of this, if I describe Jim Fitterling, it is about human decency. That's just who he is. It's who he's always been. I've had the privilege and the pleasure of working for him a couple of times in my career, including right now. He's just a good person. He is just fundamentally a good person. And he would be mortified if he knew somebody knew he was the CEO, because he just doesn't even lead with that. And I think a prime example of that is when he first became CEO and we were sitting around the leadership team table, his first words to us were, we all have equal responsibility. We just happen to be doing it from different seats. Just because I'm the CEO, doesn't mean that I have 51% of the vote. My expectation is that you are bringing all of your thoughts, all of your ideas. They will be fairly considered, and we will move forward together as a company. But he does not view himself as up here and everyone else down here. It's just not who he is. At the end of the day, for him, it's about human decency.
Yeah, Karen, we were talking about this yesterday. He's the type of person, the type of leader, Kareem, that knows how to lead from both the front and from the back. And when I think about everything you just described, I think about the fact that that is what clears the way for both Karen and I to do this work. Because I remind people that the work of inclusion and diversity and equity, it is weary work, but it is worthy work. And so absolutely not surprised to hear about the experience that you and the Dow Treasury Academy students had. There is, as Karen mentioned, there's a lot of intentionality that goes into designing the program and the agenda around the GLBI and the SOAR experience. But we've seen this time and time again where we dial in the agenda, but then an experience gets created that we did not even plan for. And that is exactly what you've just described. We have people say things like, this kind of experience was for me life-changing, right? I've never been able to be in a space where the CEO and the CFO and every member of the leadership team is there. I've never been able to be in the space where the second Black woman to ever play on the LPGA tour is in the room. Renee Powell was there. I've never been able to hear from somebody who's ascended the leadership ranks of a major sport. And so those are kind of things we plan intentionally, make no mistake about it. Details are planned, but the experience is created, and that's because of the air cover that is given to us by Jim Fiddle.
Why'd you look at me when you said details are planned, make no mistake?
So listen, so you asked Karen about her job earlier in the conversation, Kareem, and she said something like, I get the privilege of waking up and thinking about it. I don't know if she used those words intentionally, but early on in the journey, 5 years ago, I got this call after I joined her team, and she said, I was dreaming last night. And she's literally getting up, thinking about what she dreamt about, and it was some ideas around what we could do in this space of inclusion and diversity and equity. And so I quickly became, so if you were asking me what my job is, I quickly became what we call the dream implementation leader. So she literally goes to sleep and wakes up and the ideas come forward and we do some amazing things because she is the dreamer. She also, like when I say this, Kareem, but I say she's like Beyonce and I'm Solange.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we want to talk about those impressionable minds that were in the room on that night. Okay, ladies?
Service Master by Fusen, your fire, water, and storm damage restoration experts. Did you know a fire loss will end up with secondary damage if left unattended? Soot and smoke can continue to cause damage and corrosion to materials if they're left behind. And odors from smoke will stay on surfaces long after the fire. Our fire restoration process is thorough and proven. And you can count on our fast response times and professionally trained technicians. ServiceMasterByFusen.com or call them at 989-200-929. ServiceMaster by Fusen, restoring peace of mind.
I'm Chris Velasquez. My favorite show was Dirty Jobs. It reminded me of growing up on the farm, working road construction, and night shifts at the potato chip factory. I've liked every job and learned from every experience. There are no non-essential jobs. The worst thing big government did the last 2 years was divide us by declaring who was essential and who was not. You have a right to provide for your family. As your state senator, my job is to protect that right and to bring even more opportunity to our communities.
Paid for by the committee to elect Christian Vasquez for state senate.
Rates continue to rise. Please protect yourself and let our friends at American Financing review your finances, especially your high-interest debt. You cannot let those balances grow or those interest charges compound. Take care of it now so you can be financially set for the future. It could save you up to $1,000 a month when you call 866-615-9200 or visit AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
5X480. Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
It is time for the WSGW Winvitational. This year, including a 4-person scramble at the sawmill, 3 closest to the pin contests, and $10,000 hole-in-one contests. The WSGW Invitational is presented by Westside Decorating Center and powered by Branham's Jewelry. On Tuesday, August 16th, golfers will compete for fun and prizes at the Sawmill Golf Club. Golfers can purchase entries or win a foursome by participating in closest to the pin contests powered by Sarah Automotive of Saginaw. 3 separate closest to the pin contests will be held during the WSGW Morning Team Show on July 19th, 26th, and August 2nd. Each contest, listeners will be invited to stop by between 5:30 and 9 a.m. and take 3 swings at the pin. At the end of the contest, the golfer closest to the pin wins a foursome into the scramble at the Sawmill on August 16th. Plus, each closest to the pin contest will include the $10,000 hole-in-one presented by Buck Insurance in Freeland. All the details available for you online at WSGW.com.
Hey, this is Kareem Bowen. I'm sitting in for Art Lewis today on the Art Lewis Show, and we have with us Dr. Elvita Williams and Karen Carter, the Director of Inclusion and the Chief Executive Inclusion and the Chief Human Resources Officers, respectively. We have just a few minutes left here, ladies, with this conversation, and I want to just kind of tune in and just ask you guys a couple of questions. I see that you guys are engrossed in the conversation. So, but I just wanted to ask really quickly, turning the page to the special invite opportunity that you did with the student. There was a reception, ice cream social, of course, kids and myself love ice cream. Karen, you said something, and you said this, I would imagine 5 or 6 times. And I want to ask you, why was this such an important point for you to drive home? While you were speaking to the young group of students that were there, that were invited, you continually said, "You're important to me, you're important to us." I thought that was something that was very noteworthy, captured my attention. Why was that so important for you to share with those students? And we may be suffering some technical difficulties. We get to the end of our conversation. And are you able to hear me? I don't know if you're able to hear me, but we're having a bad connection in the moment. Okay. Well,
I don't think it's.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming
out
through.
here.
Well, if we're able to get them before they leave out, there was a private reception that Miss Carter put together for the young men and the young women that were invited there. There were two lead organizations that are heavily sponsored and partner with Dow. One was Midnight Golf, as I mentioned earlier, and those students have been there, and they're learning to golf as well as a number of other things. There was also the Dow Treasure Academy, which is a group that I work with of students, ninth graders that were walking through the process of high school and teaching all of the key elements that they need as a STEM and leadership initiative that we're working with. And I think that we lost those ladies. I don't know if they're going to come back in or not. But during the course of our conversation, Miss Carter continually said, and I think she probably said it about five or six times. And I think we got him back. I think we got him back here. All right, ladies. Hey, technology is great when it works. Okay. Really quickly, Karen, if you can. And we have probably about 30 to 40 seconds left here.
Sure.
You continually said, you're important to me and you're important to us, to those young students. What were you meaning by that?
Listen, it was really, to use the phrase, important to me that they understood that this was a special invitation and they were special guests. Oftentimes for people that look like you and I, Kareem, we are the only ones, and we wonder if we belong there. And so I just really wanted to emphasize to them from the beginning of this experience that not only do they belong here, but they are extremely important. And I hope that they heard that, to my point earlier, because oftentimes we wonder, and those are the tapes that we play in our own minds. But I tell my grandchildren, show up like you're supposed to be there because you are. If there's not a seat at the table for you, bring your own and pull it up.
Well, I certainly think
make the table, because those young people are they don't only belong here, but they're our future. And so I really hope that message not only resonated with them earlier this week, but that they can continue with that as they move forward in life.
Well, I certainly thank you both for your time today. We are going to have a sharp turn here as we conclude. Thank you for your time. We'll connect in the future. God bless you all. Grace and peace.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Your career takes flight when you join the winning teams at Soaring Eagle and Saganing Eagles Landing. The premier gaming and entertainment destinations in Michigan are currently hiring for a wide variety of positions for all levels of experience. Visit us online at SoaringEagleCasino.com for a full list of openings and learn about all the benefits and the new $15 an hour minimum wage. Apply today at Soaring Eagle Casino Resort and Saganing Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel.
Tom Sullivan, weeknights at 7 on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW. From the premier kitchen and bath gallery studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The Dow is down 530 points in early trading on news 2 of the country's biggest banks missed analyst estimates on second quarter profits amid swirling fears of recession.
JP Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley have reported disappointing second quarter earnings. For JP Morgan, earnings were down 28% from a year ago. For Morgan Stanley, earnings were down 29%. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the reports underscore an economy in transition.
Both banks have an eye towards an economic slowdown and seem to be preparing in case that scenario plays out.
JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon confirms that, saying the bank is prepared for whatever happens. Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
The number of people signing up for first-time jobless benefits hit an almost 8-month high last week. Bankrate's Mark Hamrick.
Even though there has been a large number of job openings in the United States, we're seeing more announcements about layoffs recently, and new claims are a proxy for job cuts.
Total number of people collecting fell. President Biden held a news conference with Israel's prime minister in Jerusalem after they signed a security declaration aimed at preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. Mr. Biden asked if he'd be willing to use force against Tehran if it doesn't rejoin a nuclear deal.
We're waiting for the response. When that will occur, when that will come, I'm not certain, but we are not going to wait forever.
He would not comment on whether he'd bring up human rights abuses and the murder of Jamal Khashoggi when he meets with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia tomorrow. Officials in Southwest Virginia say 17 people are still missing. 24 have been located after massive storms unleashed devastating flooding that washed away homes, roads, and bridges in Buchanan County.
Everything is gone. I mean, it's a little community right here. People lost everything. And it's sad.
A mayor in Georgia is headed to prison for stealing COVID aid. CBS's Jim Krasula.
A former suburban Atlanta mayor has been sentenced to nearly 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to fraud charges. 60-year-old Jason Larry had been charged with stealing nearly $925,000 of the $6.2 million in COVID-19 relief funds his city was to hand out. Larry was the first mayor of Stonecrest, Georgia, that incorporated in 2017.
That's Jim Krasula. The lineup was different in Paris this Bastille Day. Thousands of French troops marched down the Champs-Élysées along allies from Eastern Europe in a nod to France's military support for Ukraine. Dow down 600. This is CBS News.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed, the end-to-end hiring solution. Attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
At the United States Postal Service, we deliver with advanced technology and equipment so we can reach over 160 million addresses across the country. We're delivering for thinkers, doers, movers, shakers, groundbreakers, future makers, innovators, trailblazers, disruptors, streamers, dreamers. So no matter what business you're in, we'll always be delivering for you. USPS, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/delivering.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services. Ricky LeBlanc, Chestnut Hill, Mass. Admitted in Massachusetts only. While this firm maintains joint responsibility, most cases of this type are referred to other attorneys for principal responsibility. Members, Paul J. Morgan, Winter Park, Florida. Nick Neiswander, Florence, Kentucky. Rich Graybo, 970 Farmington Avenue, West Hartford, Connecticut. 860-904-7789. Michael Bo Gonzalez, admitted Louisiana. Filing number LA-22-13614. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other attorneys. I am a paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention U.S. Marines. Veterans were exposed to toxic chemicals in the drinking water on Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Exposure to these chemicals increased the risk for cancer, birth defects, and other serious health problems. If you or a loved one were exposed to contaminated water on Camp Lejeune, you may be entitled to compensation. A new law gives legal rights to those harmed. It is not too late to take action. Call Sokolov Law now for a free legal consultation at 1-800-397-8100. 1-800-397-8100. 1-800-397-8100.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom. This is WSGW News.
Sunny skies and 69 degrees at 10:05. Good morning, I'm Mike Perchak. A 25-year-old man was hospitalized Tuesday after a tree fell on him in Bay County's Bangor Township. Police say the man was helping a friend cut down an ash tree in the 100 block of West Gary Street around 7 p.m. when the accident occurred. He was unresponsive when first responders got to the scene. An ambulance transported him to McLaren Bay Region Hospital for treatment. He's currently listed in critical condition. EMS personnel, the Bay County Sheriff's Department, and Bangor Township Fire assisted at the scene. Residents impacted by the May 2020 floods in Midland and Gladwin counties have until tomorrow to file a claim in the Boyce Hydroelectric bankruptcy case. $3.5 million remains for the property owners filing claims, of which there are around 3,000. Those claims were reduced due to duplicate filings in some instances. To file a claim, visit cases.stretto.com/Boyce Northwood University will be hosting 19 women from Rwanda and Afghanistan on July 17th to the 24th as part of a partnership to empower female entrepreneurs from those two countries. The women face incredible challenges as Rwanda continues its recovery from COVID-19 and Afghanistan is experiencing oppressed women's rights and unstable government. The group is coming to Northwood as part of a long-term partnership with the Institute of Economic Empowerment of Women. In the afternoon, the group will visit local businesses in the Great Lakes Bay region to learn about their operations, and there will also be time for participants to engage in a business pitch competition, listen to a panel discussion, and meet community leaders over lunches and dinner. WSGW News Time, 10:07.
Are you ready for retirement? Well, Jason and Carl Kreiderman with Great Lakes Investment Advisors have a new book that can help make retiring easier. In Empower Your Retirement, they talk about how a well-thought-out financial plan can make the difference between just surviving and thriving in retirement. Using everyday language, this book explores how a simple process can help you cover all the bases of your financial life, including how taxes can affect your retirement and much more. Your finances are too important to leave to chance. Empower Your Retirement is written to help you understand the must-dos to prepare for the retirement you desire. Get your free copy of Empower Your Retirement by calling 989-848-1188. That's 989-848-1188. And for more on retirement planning, tune into Jason and Carl's radio show, Your Financial Empower Hour, every Sunday morning at 8. Firm provides insurance services, investment advisory services offered by Great Lakes Investment Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor firm in the state of Michigan. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
WSGW News Time, 10:08. The weather forecast is coming up. A 25-year-old cold case, the death of an infant in the Upper Peninsula's Hudson Township back in 1997, may be solved. The unidentified infant's body was found in a toilet at the Garnet Lake Campground. Local officials named the infant Baby Garnet. With the help of forensic genetic genealogy, a 58-year-old woman has been arrested in Wyoming and is believed to be the birth mother of the baby. She will be extradited back to Michigan on the charge of homicide and open murder. Soon, customers at restaurants and bars here in Michigan will have the ability to serve themselves after Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed a bill this week to bring self-dispensing taps to bars to the state. John McNamara, Vice President of Government Affairs with the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, believes the new technology will be wildly popular with customers.
We've just seen in other states, people enjoy it. It's sort of a fun thing to do. And it could be another way to, have your restaurant set apart from another restaurant. And oddly enough, we're hearing a lot from our hotelier members that this is something they probably plan to utilize in their lobby as well.
McNamara believes we'll see those self-serving taps here in Michigan by the end of the year. When you see news happening, call the WSGW newsroom at 752-0790. It's 10:10. I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Mostly sunny skies here for your day today with a high around 80 degrees. Winds out of the north around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 57. Friday, increasing cloud cover, high around 84 degrees. Then by Saturday, mostly sunny sky conditions, a high of 87. Sunday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy, high around 83. And by Monday, plenty of blue skies and sun with a high of 87. Tuesday, a chance for rain showers. We'll see high around 90 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with the WSGW Weatherology Forecast. Currently, it's 72.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions from around your block to around the world. The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kareem Bowen, and I'm sitting in for Art Lewis on the Art Lewis Show. We've been having some great conversation on this morning, and I'm continued to be pleasured to be with me in the studio. My main man, John B. I renamed him John B in the Place to Be because I just thought it was a good tagline.
Well, and we have to continue the incorrect name trend with Chandler that you had, Chandler Tyson.
Yes,
so,
I had, my previous producer on one of my on United Shades of Grey, which airs on Sundays at 7 p.m. here on WSGW. His name was actually Chandler, and I used to always call him Tyson Chandler. I don't know. It was just so when we got our new guy John, I said, "Hey, why don't we make you John B in the Place to Be?" It's better than Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, I can't stand Johnny. No way.
So we're here today, and one of the things that I really want to talk about, because I love talking about the issues that impact us all of the time. And so if we get an opportunity, I would love to take an opportunity to get some phone calls in and allow people to just kind of join into our conversations. Or if they have something that they've heard previously that they would like to make a call on, where should they contact us at?
The number is 989-752-6111 if you want to call in, ask your questions, voice your opinions, as the intro says.
Okay, so at the top of yes, this is the only show that allows you to voice your opinion. Exactly. You're absolutely right. At the top of the hour, when we were coming in, we were talking a little bit about inflation, and I was talking about the impact of what was happening around. But I want to talk really quickly. There's been a lot of conversation about the big ruling, and I guess it's because it was the big blockbuster ruling with the ending of Roe versus Wade by the Supreme Court. However, there were a lot of other rulings that I think have been overlooked. And one of them I really would like to bring to the conversation. Our country is changing so fast. It would appear to me like the country and the nation as I knew it as a kid growing up is going through so many changes. And I think that anything that grows has to change. Change is inevitable. I always tell young people that change is inevitable. Change is your friend. But what we're seeing is a lot of changes that are taking place. We see now with a 6-4 ruling. We have here 6-3 ruling. Excuse me. You got to add these things up. Is going to be probably the typical numbers that we're going to be seeing for some of the things that are coming out of the Supreme Court. One of the things and the additional changes that we see taking place that I think is worth noting, and I want to talk a little bit about this, is the Supreme Court's ruling that limits now the EPA's authority to regulate greenhouse gas emissions. And nobody's talking about it. Everyone's talking about Roe v. Wade, which I can certainly understand. But in addition to Roe v. Wade, there were some very other important things that were changed or rulings that were handed down, and this is one of them. So when we talk about greenhouse gas emissions, and I'm not sure how much of a greenhouse person, world peace, global warming, let's save Mother Earth you are, John, or where you stand?
Well, I'm not super concerned about it. I look at this ruling from a different angle, but we can get into that.
Okay, well, I'm interested. So to me, and I'll tell you the ruling, the way that I look at this. And so this may be a good conversation. So when I look at this, there's a concern for me because I am a person who believes I love nature. So just so those of you who are listening to me, I spend a great deal of time, of my personal time, when I'm not working or on the radio or doing all the things that I love to do here, being a community activist and all of that fun stuff. I usually take some time out and get away. And I visit Pure Michigan loves me because I visit our state parks. And I think that it's really important And I wish more of our residents here in Michigan would take the time out to be a tourist in their own state. I think they would simply be amazed at what we have to offer here. I know a lot of family and friend members, they're running down to Myrtle Beach, but if you catch one of the Michigan beaches here during the course of the summer, you'd be amazed at how pristine the waters are, how beautiful and fluffy and powder-like the sand is. So I usually go up to what is called the Porcupine Wilderness State Park. Ever been there?
No, I don't think I have.
Have you ever heard of it?
I don't think so.
You lower Michiganders,
well,
I tell you.
A little bit. One summer we went around the whole outline of the state of Michigan. We visited all the Great Lakes and went camping. So I might have been there, but I was pretty young when we made that trip.
You were really young. Well, one of the things that I've come, those who know me and those who are like in my circle, they know that I love being outdoors, which is really kind of, if you saw how I operated most of the time, most people think that we can't imagine you doing two things. One, we can't imagine you doing work with your hands, and we cannot imagine you roughing it. Well, I am. And so I usually go up to what is called the Porcupine Mountains. It's the Wilderness State Park. It is a vast protected park that is up in the UP. When you get to the Wilderness State Park, you can't go any further north or any further west without leaving either the state of Michigan going into, I think it's Wisconsin, or ending up in Lake Superior. So it is a wonderful, wonderful place. And so from Lower Michigan, where we are here in Saginaw, it's about an 8.5-hour drive. And when I tell my friends outside of the state, it's like, how in the world can you drive 8.5 hours and still be in the same state? They're like, that should be a different state up there. But the philosophy is a lot different up there. But I usually go there, and one of the things that I really enjoy about spending time in Michigan State Park, and especially Porcupine Mountains, is that when you cross the bridge, for me, I have sinus and allergy issues and things of that nature. Those things go out the window almost, just within 15 minutes across the bridge. The air is much cleaner. And it's God's country. It is absolutely gorgeous in the summertime. And so when we go up there and we begin to just get into these spaces and enjoy this, I absolutely love it. When you get to the Porcupine Mountains, we usually stay at a place called Mirror Lake. So if you're listening to us on the radio, or if you're listening to us via social media, I want you to Google that, Mirror Lake, because Mirror Lake is such an amazing place. It's about a 3.5-mile hike in. We drive 14 miles into the park. We park at a particular location. It's 3.5 miles up the side of a mountain. And you have to carry everything in that you use. There's no running water. There is no electricity. So that means you're bringing in propane tanks. If you're going to cook, you're going to use propane to do it, and propane lighting. And so we're going usually with 50 to 75 pound, backpacks up the side of this mountain. It is a chore. A couple of times I wanted to just pass on, like, just leave me here. Let the bears have me, because there are black bears there. And it's an amazing opportunity. So when I think about this particular ruling with the EPA, my concern is that we might do damage to places and spaces that people who love outdoors really enjoy and cherish. So that becomes my concern, because greenhouse gases, we know about the ozone layer, we know about acid rain, we know about all of those things. So what is you said you look at this a little bit different. So help me, shed some light on it.
Well, I don't look at it as an environmentalist ruling.
Okay.
I think it's going to get kicked to the states, and certain states. California is certainly going to have some higher restrictions on greenhouse gas emissions than, say, Texas or other more. They're going to throw it around, which I think is kind of interesting, because it gets into, what are they trying to promote? Are they trying to promote the natural beauty of their state? I think that Michigan's going to have some very strong things to say about preserving the natural resources we have here. That's been something that's been big in Michigan for a long time, because tourism's so big.
Let's talk about that when we come back from this commercial break, because I think it's going to be an important I think it's important to talk about this, and our people should know about it. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
It could be the best years of your life. In retirement, you'll finally get to do what you want to do, but you have to plan for it. Start by tuning into Mindy and Nolan McIntosh of McIntosh and Associates every Sunday at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Make retirement the best time of your life. Tune in Sundays at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The economy is heading for a total disaster. The Fed must choose between a stock market and housing market crash or hyperinflation. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement savings into physical gold today. To help you get started, my friends at Birch Gold have created a free information kit on gold IRAs. To get your free copy, just text Safeguard to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required. Again, that's Safeguard to 989898.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? The United States Mint has issued the Morgan Silver Dollar for the first time in 100 years. Not only that, but they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 175,000 legal tender silver dollars were issued. These Morgan Silver Dollars are brand new, bright and shiny legal tender coins minted by the iconic Philadelphia Mint. Just call 1-800-222-3807 and you are guaranteed a new 99.9% pure silver Morgan dollar. The first time in history this has happened. But with limited quantities, you must call now to order. To learn more, call 1-800-222-3807. If you order now, you will receive a free collector bonus, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-222-3807 now to secure your new Morgan Silver Dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-222-3807.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The Dow opened down more than 400 points. Investors are looking at another hotter than expected inflation reading. The producer price index, which measures wholesale inflation, rose 11.3% in the year ending in June. From just May to June, the increase was 1.1%. JP Morgan's quarter was disappointing as it took steps to prop up its bottom line in the event of a recession. Among other things, it has halted stock buybacks. In the recent quarter, though, customers were paying bills on time. Morgan Stanley also missed earnings expectations for the quarter. Netflix has selected Microsoft to help it launch a new ad-based subscription service. ConAgra saw sales increase in the recent quarter, but is seeing shoppers pull back because of higher prices. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-328-9696. That's 800-328-9696.
Struggling with CPAP? Now there's Inspire, the only FDA-approved obstructive sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body to treat the root cause of sleep apnea with just the click of a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Visit inspiresleep.com to learn more.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Ground ball and a base hit into left field. Jonathan Scope around third, and he will score. Tigers have been doing that beautifully here in the 7th inning. 4 runs and a 7-3 lead.
The Tigers play 6:50 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
Good morning. This is Kareem Bowen. I'm sitting in for Art Lewis on the Art Lewis Show. Before the commercial break, we were talking about one of the rulings. We talked about all of what's been taking place, but one of the rulings that the Supreme Court made as it relates to the EPA and really not having the ultimate authority on some of the greenhouse gas emissions that are out there, And I was sharing with everyone about how I absolutely love pure Michigan. I think Michigan is one of the most amazing states to live in the summer. In the winter times, winters are brutal. But I love going up to Porcupine Mountains. It is just beyond what's the name of the Silver City, Michigan, which you probably have never heard of. Not far from Ontonagon, about 14 to 16 miles from Ontonagon, Michigan. I love saying Ontonagon. But you get up there, it looks like a little, if you've ever seen the movie Jaws, you go through little port cities, it looks kind of like that. And then you get to the door of the Porcupine Mountains. I usually go up and stay a week. As I said, a 3.5 mile hike up the side of the mountain, carrying everything in on your back. I love staying at 8 Bunk, which is right on Mirror Lake. You come out the door 10 feet away, the lake's right at your feet. And you were saying that you don't believe that this particular ruling by the Supreme Court puts this in jeopardy, but it's something that's going to be pushed down towards the state. I want you to finish your point.
Yeah. Also, we want to hear what our listeners have to say about this. 989-752-6111 is the number to call.
The lines are open.
We're accepting calls. Give your opinions on this. But I think that, I think it's going to get kicked around. I think there's going to be a lot of activism. I think there's going to be a lot of discussion over it.
So what was the purpose of this ruling? If you don't think that it has, what do you think the purpose of this ruling was?
I see it as being a different. I'm just looking at it from a different angle. I think that it severely limits the power of federal agencies in general. They now need like specific instruction, I guess, from Congress on how they can operate. And personally, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that a lot of federal programs and agencies have gotten a bit big for their britches, and it's interesting that now this is the legislative branch limiting the power of the executive branch by handing that power over to the judicial branch, limiting the power of the executive branch by handing that power to the legislative branch. And I just think that's an interesting transfer of power to see.
Well, I think what's interesting to me is I think that for the first time in my life, I've never seen the Supreme Court become what I believe now to be a political entity. And some of the things that we're seeing taking place are really politically driven and not necessarily so much, let's make sure that the laws are not being infringed upon. That's a whole nother conversation.
Well,
but
I want to get into that a
go
little
ahead.
bit. Go ahead. Are you? I personally, looking at the Constitution, that's the Supreme Court's job, right? Interpret laws against the Constitution,
right?
I think that they're looking
from a non-political stance is the key. So and that's where I'm afraid that we may be entering into a place that we now see the highest court in our nation having a political sway. And one thing that I love, and I love our nation, I love the way that we operate, I love the checks and balances and all those things. But go ahead, you were making a point.
I'm just thinking that if their job is to measure laws against the Constitution, I don't know. Again, it's a point of view thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they've been politically driven. I think that they're making decisions on topics that have been politicized. I would agree with that. I think that these topics have become heavily politicized.
Okay.
And now the Supreme Court is going, all right, let's measure it against the Constitution.
And so that's what you see as happening with Roe v. Wade. There was no politics involved with it? Is that what you're saying?
I think that it is a politicized issue.
Okay.
That they looked at the Constitution. They said, nowhere in here does it say anything about abortion. Nowhere in here does it. Now, right to privacy, which is what the original ruling was on, it was, by all accounts, a poorly written opinion, a poorly written judgment, but founding it upon the right to privacy. And it could be that they take it down on the right to privacy, and somewhere along the line it gets built back up using different foundation, which
well it's interesting as we look at what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say with that, we do have a couple of callers on the line.
Okay, let's see what our callers have to say. Maybe they'll differ than what
maybe
they'll put us both in our proper places.
It could be. Let's head over to Al in Midland. I don't think Al's gonna put us in our place too bad. But Al, good morning.
How you doing, Al?
Good morning, Kareem. I don't remember what the other guest's name was.
Yeah, his name isn't as important as mine is. You got the right one, Al.
It's me, Jonathan, the guy that normally answers.
It's John.
Okay.
It's John.
You sound a little different. You're fainter away from the microphone. I'm used to it.
There we go.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm just thinking, how stupid is this country? Germany's going back to coal. They're starting all their coal plants back up, and we're shutting down. How stupid is that? We got some of the cleanest burning coal. We've got some of the safest environmental mining practices in this country. We've got China that pollutes worse than us. We've got India that pollutes worse than us. There's a third country in there that's, I forget which one it is, but there's a third one that's polluting much more than we are. And they're not held to, they're a third world country. They're called a third world country under the climate change and all this environmental stuff. And so they can pollute up the yin yang and do everything they want and burn all the stuff and pollute and no fines, no nothing. But we're a country where we can't do any of this, and we've got the cleanest burning fuel. And how crazy is that to shut down our coal plants and have all these other outfits, these other countries, they can pollute up as much as they want, and there's no penalties or nothing against them.
Now, I was going to say, I missed your first name again. Could you give me your first name again?
Al. Very easy.
Okay, yeah, Al. One of the questions that I would like to ask, I guess, is the idea to just not be the leader in the pollution, or is it the idea, or is it important for us to really look at greenhouse emissions and the impact that they may have on our country? I'm
going to throw something right back at you. Obama said he wanted to lead from behind. Well, let's lead from behind. We'll be the last ones to clean up our environmental act because we're the cleanest already. So let's lead from behind and let the other ones run ahead of us.
I'm not sure why we would use a phrase from Obama, but what I would say is this.
I love being able to throw stuff right back at people that come up with these dumb phrases, and when I find a way that I can throw it right back at them and show how stupid that phrase was, if we're leading from behind, then we don't have to clean up any more of our environmental stuff until the other folks do it first.
Well, I'm sure Obama's going to feel your response on that one.
I doubt he'll even hear it, but it's a good slam, a way of pointing out the fallacy of some of his policies, and that was one of the policies that was really stupid.
Okay, well, we thank you for your opinion and thank you for your call, sir.
Yep, thank you, and have a nice weekend.
You too. Have a great one.
Bye now.
Now, I think before we go to break, because we've got a couple of calls. We'll get to those when we come back. But I think before we go to break, I think that it is important to look at the international stage, and I think that America overall on the international stage is you're not doing this right. You're the world's police. Oh, why aren't you protecting us? Why aren't you living up to our environmental standards? What about China and India? Oh, we're not talking about them.
Well, I think that if we're going to be leading, we want to lead the world in every single thing out there. I think that we are one of the greatest polluters in the world. We are one of the biggest abusers and wasters of so many things that I think that it's important. And I'm not sure about the lead from behind comment. I cannot attribute it to President Obama. However, I believe that leaders lead from out front. And so I love to see my nation take the lead in leading out front and taking care of Mother Earth so that we will have it for generations to come. And that's just kind of what I believe leadership does. But we're going to take a quick break, as you said, and we'll be right back with those additional callers.
They had a look, an attitude, and a sound like no other. Sure, they were born in Jersey, but they were made in America.
Working my way back to you, babe.
Jersey Boys coming to the Dow Event Center Monday, July 25th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
Let me tell you about the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch. For parties big or small, if you're feeding a whole bunch of SOBs, then let the Lumberjack Restaurant take care of the grub. Mouth-watering ribs, finger-licking chicken, dangerously creamy mac and cheese. Everyone in the neighborhood will be begging for an invite. So get your axe on that fancy phone of yours and visit lumberjackcatering.com to see how you can upgrade your next event with Lumberjack Catering.
It is the fundamental right of parents to direct the education of their children, unquote. That's the state law. And Representative Annette Glenn sponsored a bill to require posting that right in school offices and board meetings, fighting for parents. Paid for by Annette Glenn for State Senate.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer. At the United States Postal Service, we deliver packages fast and affordably, so you can give your customers what they want when they need it. We're delivering for one-stop shops, mom and pops, pop-ups, startups, retail, wholesale, large scale, small biz, big box, customers, customizers. So no matter what business you're in, we'll always be delivering for you. USPS, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/delivering.
The economy is heading for a total disaster. The Fed must choose between a stock market and housing market crash or hyperinflation. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement savings into physical gold today. To help you get started, my friends at Birch Gold have created a free information kit on gold IRAs. To get your free copy, just text Safeguard to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required. Again, that's Safeguard to 989898.
Today on Hey Culligan, better water that cares. Jane's on the line.
Hey Culligan, how can I avoid using all those plastic water bottles that harm the sea turtles?
Jane, our always-on drinking water system helps eliminate the equivalent of 15 billion single-use plastic bottles a year. So, you see, Culligan cares about sea turtles, too.
Aw, plastic pollutes and Culligan cures.
That's catchy, Jane, and totally true.
I'll take it, like now.
Jane, we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Broadcasting from the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios. This is WSGW.
This is Kareem Bowen sitting in for Art Lewis on the Art Lewis Show, and we have been having some conversation with callers. And I believe, John, we've
got more.
We've got more callers.
Once again, before we get into it, that number is 989-752-6111. Jake is in Saginaw. Jake, good morning.
Hey, I want to hit on 2 things, so I'll just expound on those as quickly as I can.
Okay.
I agree with Jonathan on the Supreme Court ruling. I'm looking at the Clean Air Act, Section 7412, hazardous air pollutants. In Congress, Part B, the initial list of defined hazardous air pollutants does not list carbon dioxide, and it is still not in that list. And so to go and change the industry to alter emissions of something that is not a hazardous air pollutant is overstep. And we see it with the IRS making up rules that Congress hasn't passed. For example, they're asking if you have cryptocurrency. They're not allowed to check on that. That hasn't been passed by Congress. And the list can go on. Secondly, is those 2 ladies, I heard Asian, black, white, they're racist. They see differences. That should not be the chief inclusion officer. That should be the chief exclusion officer.
Now, we talked about this a little bit on Kareem's show, United Shades of Grey. We talked a little while ago, and I think that it's interesting. I think it's important. What you just said, I think, is very important because we talked about diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Absolutely.
And we talked about how a lot of companies are looking at Asian, black, white, all of that, and they're just checking boxes. Now, I don't I don't know these ladies personally, but Kareem and I have talked extensively on this topic, and we've agreed that what matters more than the skin color, more than the race, is the way of thinking and the culture, the person coming to it.
Well, I want to make sure that I'm clear. I think that skin color does matter, and I'm not sure exactly why. I guess my question would be, why would you say that they were racist?
Because they see differences in groups. So if you work over there and having some experience over there, by citing differences in categories of people, they are separating the company into groups. They should be going at it from the standpoint of, we're all Dow Chemical employees. We all have that in common.
Absolutely.
And as a result, we should not cite these differences amongst ourselves. And they operate totally opposite of that. And I happen to know that very, very well. It's not great.
Okay, well, one of the things that I think is very important, and having had many conversations with corporations and individuals about this, is that one of the key pieces of diversity is to make sure that everyone is able to bring their whole selves to work. And that means that everyone needs not only be present, but they also need to be able to be seen. And I think by naming those groups, they're making sure that every single individual, every single group understands that they are welcome and a part of the table. You weren't able to be a part of the SOAR conference that they were talking about when they were together, but it was probably one of the most diverse rooms that I've been in probably a decade. And every nationality across the board was present in those presentations.
And one final point, we've got some more callers to get to, but one last thing that I kind of want to throw out there, as I think Jake would agree with me. I think Kareem, you would agree with me too on this. I think if we look at hiring in a corporation and we look at, look, we have this group of Latinos. Look, we have this group of African Americans. I think that's a bad thing. I would agree with Jake that is a racist idea. But if you look and you say, this employee, this individual, this person is Latino, this individual, this employee is African American, that is part of who they are as a person. I think that's a lot more true to how you want to build a team.
Yeah. Well, what I'm seeing over there is so much emphasis on these groups, and you need to look at, is this the right person to be a Dow Chemical employee that knows how to operate in the chemical industry? If they happen to be gay, if they happen to be trans, if they happen to be black, if they have to be white, a man or a woman, it doesn't matter.
I think that's exactly what's happening. And I think that as they look at that talent pool, which is great. And so the two guests that we had here on today, they were actually a part of the company. And because of their level of excellence and their ability to achieve, they were hired on and put in those particular places because of that reason. We certainly want to thank you for your call. We got others we got to get to. Thank you for calling in today. And we're going to the next caller.
All right. We're going to head over to Frank in Freeland. Frank, good morning.
Good morning. Well, there's on this conversation, there isn't very much I agree with what he's been saying. First of all, we could start on, he talked about he didn't know the Supreme Court would be politicized. Well, now it's coming out on that 10-year-old that the incident happened in June 22nd. It was covered up by the Columbus Police Department.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So if you're going to use it, could you please just bring some clarity? Yep.
Well, the president was talking about the 10-year-old who got raped and had to go out of state to get an abortion. Well, now it's coming out that the doctor did not want to perform it. It happened on June 22nd, and the person who raped her was a 27-year-old illegal alien. They both live in the same house. The illegal alien has already been arrested and got re-released. They're still living in the same house as the 10-year-old, and the cops were covering up the name, and now it's coming out in the press. You know, about the president being involved into it right up to his eyebrows. And there was no law in Ohio was going to stop her from getting an abortion. Just shows you it's all been totally politicized when you talk about it. To me, heads ought to roll on that deal. And then you also talk about Camilla. That's typical women's rights there. Women's rights were first started So if they're all in the same office, one woman couldn't sleep her way to the top. Well, Kamala did it, and then her grandfather was a slave owner. So it's total hypocrisy on one side again.
Right.
Here we go.
Yeah. I think I agree that the whole situation with that 10-year-old it's disgusting. It's terrible. And I think I hope, I pray justice is served there. We thank you for your call. We do have to go into a break. You have a good day. All right.
Yep.
All right. Some heavy stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
We're going to take more calls after our break, but we're reaching the end of our show here.
Yeah, it's moving fast.
We'll be right back.
Flock to Dow Diamond July 30th for Princess and Pirate Night, where you too can be royalty.
A princess? Shut up.
Or a scallywag.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
After the game, we'll light up the kingdom with a fireworks loontacular.
Hey, we saw fireworks.
Princess, are you okay? Powered by Farm Bureau Insurance. Tickets are selling fast.
My God, you ate the princess!
Get yours now at loons.com. Princess and Pirate Night, July 30th at Dow Diamond.
Bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Dive in. It's Loons baseball time.
I'm Chris Velasquez. My favorite show was Dirty Jobs. It reminded me of growing up on the farm, working road construction, and night shifts at the potato chip factory. I've liked every job and learned from every experience. There are no non-essential jobs. The worst thing big government did the last 2 years was divide us by declaring who was essential and who was not. You have a right to provide for your family. As your state senator, my job is to protect that right and to bring even more opportunity to our communities.
Paid for by the committee to elect Christian Vasquez for state senate.
Why do I fly out of MBS Airport? Because the stress-free experience on the ground makes for a more enjoyable experience up here.
Eagles Nest, this is Bravo. I'm going to do some barrel rolls and other cool stuff.
Whoa, what a dream. Even a business trip's exciting. And with services through Delta and United Airlines, you'll feel upgraded as soon as you walk through their doors. Book your flight today at mbsairport.org.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? The United States Mint has issued the Morgan Silver Dollar for the first time in 100 years. Not only that, but they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 175,000 legal tender silver dollars were issued. These Morgan Silver Dollars are brand new, bright and shiny legal tender coins minted by the iconic Philadelphia Mint. Just call 1-800-222-3807 and you are guaranteed a new 99.9% pure silver Morgan dollar. The first time in history this has happened. But with limited quantities, you must call now to order. To learn more, call 1-800-222-3807. If you order now, you will receive a free collector bonus, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-222-3807 now to secure your new Morgan Silver Dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-222-3807.
This is Kareem Bowen, and we're back with more of the Art Lewis Show. I'm sitting in today. Shout out to Bobby De Leon. Good morning, gentlemen, from all of us in the Hispanic community and the Mexican American Council. Great having you this morning as well. Do we have any more calls? I know we had a couple calls.
Yep, we've got Mark in Midland. Mark, how are you today?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Wonderful, Mark.
Great. Hey, I'm going to go a different direction. I want to talk about the border and the drugs coming across the wide open border that we have.
Okay.
Couple individuals were arrested and released for having fentanyl, large quantities. A woman the other day picked up a dollar bill or $5, doesn't matter the denomination, but it was laced with fentanyl or it had residue of fentanyl, and she ended up dying. What's stopping the individuals coming across the border, taking a stack of $50 bills, lacing them with fentanyl and dropping them off on a playground outside of school?
Yeah.
Well, absolutely nothing. And fentanyl is a very serious issue, very deadly. And we need to do more to protect both our borders as it relates to what's happening there and really dealing with fentanyl. And so my thing is we got to check airports and border crossings. That's where it's happening.
Well, I'm just concerned with it getting on the money. I mean, you got a lot of cashiers out there across America. You got a lot of kids on playgrounds. It just takes one individual with a bad idea to go and spread, bullets kill. I think fentanyl kills just as bad as bullets.
I would agree with you. There's a lot that we need to do, and protecting our nation, our children, our most valuable resource. should be our primary concern. We want to certainly thank you for your call.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Yeah, it's some interest. And while he's talking about that, I don't know how accurate it is, so don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
But I feel like I read at some point somewhere along the line that the amount of drugs, trace amounts of drugs on money.
Yeah.
You have handled it.
Yeah.
Probably in the last week, probably in the last day.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's not I'm not scared, but it's certainly something to think about. That wow, that's a detectable trace amounts of drugs on money is so common.
You know what they say, the dirtiest thing that we have is the thing that we all desire. We all want more money, but money is probably one of the dirtiest things that passes through our hands.
No doubt. Yeah.
So it's interesting. The idea with fentanyl and the conversations about that and what I've been hearing and them lacing recreational drugs and other things with fentanyl. And so we've had a lot of drug deaths and overdoses and things of that nature because fentanyl is a very dangerous drug. And so we've got to really make sure that we do what is necessary to protect our kids. As he said, what's to stop anyone from having, coming up with a bad idea and lacing money with fentanyl. And it seems in our nation that we have a lot of people with great ideas, but we have a lot of bad ideas that are on the rise as well. So we got to be more protective of our kids. We have conversations about the border all the time. And I'll tell people that, hey, if we want to stop drugs, then we've got to look at airports and border crossings because that's the way they're getting in here. So it's time for us as American citizens to stand up for what we believe in.
Absolutely. And while he was talking about that also, and while you were talking about securing airports and border crossings, it had me thinking about the Supreme Court decision that we were talking about, where these federal agencies are kind of being put on a little bit of a leash, and Congress holds the other end of it. How is that gonna impact this whole thing?
And I'm a believer. I'll tell you this, and this is going to be a very controversial statement that I'm going to say, as is most everything that I say. Depending on how your life lives or how you live your life in this nation and where you are in this nation often determines how much government you want. If you are an individual who has a small business, you're doing well, your family has done well, and traditionally through the years you've benefited from the American dream, as we say it, then you don't want government to get involved, because the way you see it, when government gets involved, they limit or they take away from the blessing that you have, which is your life. But if you have not been on that side of life, and you need government to come in, and oftentimes we say to equalize, be the equalizer in certain things, then you want the government to be involved. And so I think that is a very real thing. I love the fact, we've had conversations about capitalism even, and I've made the statement, which is not a popular statement in many circles, that capitalism requires that there is an impoverished portion of our community. It is built into the system of capitalism. And so really, when we look at this, and what I really wanted to say, and I don't know if there is a caller on the line, there's not one right now, is I was looking at the most important issues, what Americans say are the most important issues that we have here in our country. And I wanted to give us the top 5, but the reality of the situation is that at 5%, there was a tie that was going across the board, or 55% or something of that nature. But topping things off was our cost of living, which is what we were talking about today, and how inflation plays such a key role in that. Then that was followed up by poor leadership in government. I'm going to tell you that if I've ever seen in our government, whether you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent or whatever you are, I think this is probably the season of the poorest leadership that I've seen as a nation.
I'm still fairly young.
Yeah.
When is the last time, because I can't think of a time in my life, when is the last time that the majority of the U.S. was happy with their leadership?
Man, that's a good question.
I don't know if it's ever happened. That's my.
I mean, you will have, you can get to a place where there's a majority of Americans that are happy, but in terms of, and when we say majority, we might talk about 55, 50, usually
there's
under 60.
There's still a huge amount of people,
of course, because we think differently, and I think that is attributed to the fact that we have a two-party political system. And so if they don't get what they want, then they're unhappy. And so if you get what you want, then you are. And then you got the independents that are in the middle. They're saying, hey, we can get along with this. And so I think 55-60% is probably the highest that I can ever imagine that taking place. And so we're people, we complain about a lot of stuff, but we've got it pretty good as a nation.
I agree.
And so so we were talking about those top 5 issues: cost of living, inflation, which everyone is feeling at the pinch right now. Poor leadership, government. I really believe that if there is a time to lead, it's always in a time of crisis. We are in a crisis of leadership at the moment. Then the economy. Someone said it's the economy, stupid. And then coming in, guns and guns control. We know where the nation stands with that. The nation feels that, hey, we don't want to ban guns, but there's a need for some type of control. Crime and violence. Starbucks is saying that they're closing stores, not because of poor sales, but because of crime. And so people want a nation that we can feel safe in, that we can live in, that we can all thrive, that we can work what is supposedly the proverbial American dream, and that we can protect our children. And so I think those are key elements of where we are. And then lastly, these last 3 come in together, which was immigration, unifying the country, which I think should be a top contender, and then fuel and oil prices. So it's going to be interesting. Joe Biden was supposed to be the great negotiator, the great unifier. Did that happen? We didn't see it happen. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back.
Hello, I'm Shep. And I'm Mark. And we're the friendly board-certified entomologists from Rose Pest Solutions.
Hey, Shep, I've got a riddle for you.
Hit me.
Why don't anteaters get sick?
I don't know.
Because they're filled with antibodies.
You know, Mark, there are thousands of ant species that can run amok in your home.
To be effective, you've got to keep them straight.
The pros from Rose can correctly identify the ant and solve the problem.
Protect your health and home. Call 800-966-ROSE. Rose will get the best of your pest.
For almost 20 years, Linex has been the only place to go for quality spray-on bed liner. But did you know they also offer rust-proofing and undercoating?
Their exclusive process will keep your new or used vehicle protected.
The guys at Linex have the only wax-based rust-proofing and military-spec undercoat to ensure years of protection.
In fact, all new vehicles protected will get a lifetime warranty, no yearly touch-ups required.
And because their rust-proofing process is wax-based, you won't have any long-term dripping or mess to clean up later. Rust-proof your car, truck, or SUV and protect it year-round.
Linex is located on Wilder Road in Bay City.
Give them a call at 989-671-9820 or call them at their Grand Blanc location, 810-695-9000.
Remember, your new car, truck, or SUV gets a lifetime warranty with no yearly touch-up required.
Again, the number in Bay City is 989-671-9820 or in Grand Blanc, 810-695-9000.
Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Good morning. This is Kareem Bowen and sitting in for Art Lewis on the Art Lewis Show. We want to thank everyone for being a part of this amazing 2 hours that we've been here with you today. We've had individuals from the Great Lakes Bay Invitational, Dow's Great Lakes Bay Invitational, Dr. Alvito Williams and Karen Carter, both very high-level executives. We thank you guys for your phone calls. I think one of the key things that makes this program so great, as it says in its intro, is that we're able to hear from the callers and their opinions and their thoughts. Coming up next, we have the Focus program, and we're focusing on Stan's Gold Mine. We want to thank you guys very much. Thank you for tuning in this today.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studio.